Harper Audio presents 4 Nights with the Duke by Eloisa James. Performed by Susan Duerden. Prologue. Spring 1787. A music recital. The Duke of VA's townhouse. At 15, Emilia Gwendolyn Carrington already had a pretty good idea of what hell was like. Mia's governess had taught her all about Dante's 9 infernal circles. Mia's first circle had required her to make her debut at 15 under the aegis of a hired chaperone because her mother was dead. Her second circle had added a far worse indignity. Her charming widowed father was conducting a flagrant affair with a married duchess that everyone in the fashionable world knew about. She had entered the third circle over the last year or so, when against all reason she had fallen desperately in love with the same duchess's son, Vander. He was the most sensitive, intelligent boy in the world, or so Mia thought, and he was beautiful too, with a face that resembled the stone angels that guarded babies' graves. The remaining circles of hell? All 6? They were revealing themselves in rapid succession. Mia had begged her father to attend VA's musicale on the chance that the object of her adoration, Evander Septimus Brody, future Duke of Pindar, would be present. It seemed probable, since the Duke of VA's eldest son, Tobias, was best mates with Vander. As it turned out, the house was indeed overrun with boys on holiday from Eton, and among the horde was Vander, who roundly ignored her. Mia didn't mind that. She was happy worshipping him from afar. He was too godlike for someone like her. Besides, it wasn't as if he danced attendance on any other girl. He and the other Etonians spent their time swigging brandy, although it was not yet noon, cursing loudly, and generally pretending to be far older than their 15 years. Mia finally retreated to the library, a tranquil room with book-lined walls. She was searching the shelves for anything resembling her favourite novel, Eliza Haywood's Love in Excess, when she heard, to her horror, the sound of boys approaching. Even worse, she quickly recognised the voices of those of Vander and his friend Tobias, who seemed to be calling himself Thorn these days. The library was at the end of the corridor, so there was no escape. Panicked, Mia dashed behind the sofa and slid down until she was entirely concealed. It was only then that she truly understood that she had entered that final, innermost circle of hell. The boys were discussing a love poem. Not just any love poem either. They were puzzling over the love song of E. Septimus Brody, in other words, a poem addressed explicitly to Vander that Mia herself had written, that she had poured her heart, her love, and her tears into. It wasn't very good. None of her poems were very good. Still, it was her poem, and it was supposed to be safely in her desk back home, not being bandied about at a musicale, and definitely not in the hands of the very boy she'd written it about. Even in the midst of a wave of nausea, Mia guessed what had happened. Her father had found the poem and thought it would be amusing to share with his mistress, and his mistress had in turn shared it with her son. Mia had been such a fool to give it that title. At least Vander wasn't howling with laughter, probably because he couldn't understand it. He and Thorn were hardly literary types, if a 15-year-old boy could be such a thing. "Do you suppose the part about how moonbeams kiss the sea is some sort of innuendo?" Thorn asked. Mia rolled her eyes. What an absurd suggestion. He probably still moved his lips when he read. "I don't think so," Vander answered, rather uncertainly. "Let's toss it in the fire. I don't want anyone to see it." She had scarcely breathed a sigh of relief when there was a clatter of boots and a boy shouted, "I've been looking all over for you fellows. One of the VA twins just threw up from nerves. It stinks down there." "I can't imagine why you were looking
Sample complete. Ready to continue?